gave it one more minute. It's 12:01. Hey everyone, how you doing? Adam Peterson here with DCI. We have some awesome stuff for you today. If you have any team members who didn't by chance get on this call, you can remind them right now to go ahead and dial in. Otherwise, we will be having this recorded and posted later so you guys can go back and view it. But awesome stuff with Progressive. Some dealers out there are getting this. They're taking advantage of it, and they are making some serious cash money by leveraging Progressive with the customers walking in their door, really running applications for as many people as they possibly can. It puts a lot of money in your pocket and get your customers out the door with a very low price. So we have Monae Hamner with us with Progressive Leasing, and she is going to give you guys the lowdown on how to utilize Progressive to maximize the profits in your store. With that said, I will turn it over to Monae.
Thank you so much, Adam. So I'll go ahead and begin. So again, my name is Monae Hamner. I am the Progressive Leasing representative for the Midwest. I live in Cincinnati, Ohio, but I do support the entire Midwest. So looking forward to working with you all again. And we're going to go ahead and begin with our agenda. So we're going to first dive into the basics, how Progressive works, the program, and then we'll talk about the pitch. We'll talk about why partner with Progressive if you are not an existing retailer. I also have a quick little sign-up sheet for you to scan or access if you're interested in offering our product in your stores. And then we'll end with support so you know who to contact after today. First thing first is going to be the basics. So Progressive Leasing is a no credit needed 12-month purchase agreement. Our approvals average between 1,000 to about 1,200 right now, but the maximum approval amount is $3,000. And all it takes for your customers to spend is $150. And that includes them being able to get devices and accessories up to their approval amount. It is only going to be $49 plus sales tax for that initial payment. In addition to that $49 plus sales tax, they are going to still have to pay the first month's bill. Any additional features or setup fees separate from Progressive, but it's just $49 plus tax for the device and accessories. And it's an easy process for you as a store associate. And for your customer, it's very simple. We have a quick overview that'll walk you through what that will look like. As far as the options available for your customers to take ownership. With Progressive Leasing being lease to own, we do provide 3 different routes of ownership. The first one is going to be the full 12-month term. That is going to be the lowest amount, or I should say most affordable amount every single month, and the payment stays the same. It does not increase with time. When they reach that 12 monthly payment and it's paid in full, they actually are now the owner and no more payments will be due. If the customer is interested in saving on the overall lease cost, we have an early buyout that can be completed after 90 days up to 12 months. And 50% of our customers actually do take that option. All the customer has to do is either call in to Progressive to get that set up, or we have a mobile app that they can download, and they will also be able to take advantage and pay off early through that. And then the last option is going to be the 90-day purchase option. That is the absolute lowest amount the customer will walk away paying if they take advantage. That's going to be the cost of the merchandise, the phone and accessories, plus a 20% markup. Most of our customers, about 45% of them, do take advantage of this option. One thing I like to add with this 90-day and even the early buyout option is if the customer wants to lock in that price, if they call in, we'll change the term of the lease from 12 months to 3 months or to 4 months or to 5 months. So whatever time frame the customer wants to pay off, we'll make sure that the payments equal that amount. And then once it's completed, they're all set and they own the items. What does it take for a customer to qualify? It's very similar to the pay later that most of you are using today. The customer just needs to be 18 years of age or older. They do have to have a valid Social Security number or an I-10. They also have to have an active checking account. They will need the routing and account number submitted on the actual application with us. And last but not least, they do need to have an actual debit or credit card for us to process that initial payment of $49 plus tax. And then this is just an example of all of the IDs that we accept. As long as it's government issued and they have those details, they'll be able to input all of that on the application. And I know this is best practice for you all. We always ask just, verify it yourself, make sure that it's legit before you offer it, but it's that simple. we're going to go over some compliance piece here. This is our correct terminology. So Progressive wants to make sure the customer understands exactly what they're signing up for. So there are some terms that we do like for you all to include when you're having conversations around Progressive with your customers so that there is no confusion after the fact. And we're going to start on what to say side. So we are no credit needed. We offer a 90-day purchase option. We do not have a same as cash offer, and we wouldn't say that Progressive is no credit check, and simply because we do perform a soft credit check. So we stick with no credit needed because the score is not factored into our actual decision. We are lease to own. We are not a loan and we are not financing the product. We are actually buying the items from you all, the store, and then the customer is paying us back. So it's not a line of credit. Therefore, no interest is included as far as like an interest rate. However, we do have a cost of lease services. So just like you all have your setup fee for activating the device, look at that cost of leasing as a setup fee on the Progressive side. We also do have an initial payment. I say that specifically because that initial payment is what starts the lease with us. That goes towards the overall cost of ownership. So that $49 plus tax is applied towards the total balance in the end. It's not an application fee, it's not a processing fee, and it's not a down payment. And then last but not least, we have tax deferred. So we do bill the taxes in the monthly payment. So when you all are ringing up the transaction, best practice is for it to be tax exempt, but you wouldn't say tax free, right? Most customers are used to paying taxes up front. In this case, it's just going to be split up over the course of 12 months. Now we're going to talk about how Progressive works. We have a very user-friendly dashboard. This is our link. When you become a partner of ours, we actually create your credentials, and then as an admin or the owner, they'll get the first account created, and then they'll have full reign to create their team's account. But this is our retailer dashboard. We can bookmark this URL if you are signed up with us and you don't have it. But this is where you will actually go to view the customer's lease, to process the lease. This is also where you'll go to send the customer the application. For anyone who would have manager or owner access, this is where you would go to manage your team, to pull reports. And then we have a lot of helpful tools and resources, such as our payment estimator, which is like our calculator, which I'll show you that. And then ProgU is our training hub. So we do have some additional training that's available at your fingertips. Now we're going to talk about how the customer actually can apply, since we're diving into our dashboard. Several different ways the customer can apply. Once you log in, there's a section on the home page, a tile titled Start an Application. You'll enter the customer's phone number there, and then you can send them the link directly to your store to apply. If the customer does not have an active line, but they have access to the internet, you can actually email the application as well, or scan the QR code for them to apply. And customers can also apply directly at progressiveleasing.com. So there's so many different options for customers to take to see if they qualify. Now, once the customer is interested in applying and you send them one of those links, they'll click on Apply Now. They have to agree to provide their employer information, their ID. They will need that routing account number as well as the credit or debit card. They sign off on this just so that they understand what's exactly required on the application. Now, we don't go through the entire application process because it can take up to 5 minutes to complete, but I just wanted to kind of show you an overview of the fields that we need. But we always start with the basics: first name, last name, date of birth, social security number, I-10. Then the customer will put in their address, their employer information. They will put in the routing and account number and the actual debit or credit card that we'll use for the initial payment. They put all of that information on the application, and then we'll decision immediately after they press submit and see if they're eligible. Now, if that customer does get approved, the next step is still logged into our dashboard. We'll go to the customers tab, and then you'll see your customer's name here. We also have a unique lease ID. You'll use that when you check out in Elevate, but you see the application date, the lease status will say approved, and you see exactly how much the customer qualifies for. Side note, our approvals are valid for 90 days. So once that customer gets approved, they have a nice amount of time to utilize it. But from here, we just click on Create Cart. Once you create the cart, you do have an overview of the lease details that was submitted on the application. Also, if there are multiple users created for that one location, the salesperson will be able to select their name from the drop-down menu so that this sale is always connected to them. But moving on to the left side here, you'll see the cash price is how much is actually input on the lease as far as the items, and the remaining approval lets you know how much you have left to spend. Customers do have up to 2 weeks to create another lease if they don't use that full amount. If they go past 2 weeks without using the full amount, they would have to pay off the lease. But here we have our invoice number. That invoice number is unique to Progressive. So all you have to do is I recommend putting the customer's phone number just to keep it simple and universal. Lease items, this is where we're going to add each individual item. So you'll add the device. If you have the IMEI, you'll put that there. We do allow for new and used to be sold. So you'll just put the type there. You'll also put in the item cost. Once it comes to entering the item cost, 2 things. One, promotional pricing for the device carries over. So if it's a new line and they get a discount, port in or upgrade, and they qualify for a discount, you do put that discount price there. Additionally, the price that you put should not include taxes. This should be discount price or promotional price before tax. And then you break down the accessories, if there are multiple accessories that is being added. And then again, the price should be added before tax. And you can add as many items up to the customer's approval amount. Jumped ahead a little bit too much. Going to the next slide here, we have a lease summary. So the customer will be able to confirm before you continue how much is going on the lease. Cost of leasing is actually going to break down the total cost at the end of 12 months. It'll also include what the taxes is. You'll see the total amount at 12 months and then the amount remaining after the initial payment. You can high level go over this information, but the customer will actually get a moment to review this themselves. But once you have everything confirmed, all you have to do is actually send the agreement. Once you send the customer the agreement, they will get that message by email on their mobile device. They'll actually sign off on all the terms and conditions. They will actually see how much everything is going to be, from the initial payment to the recurring payment to the early payoff. So everything is fully disclosed to the customer. They e-sign, and then they agree for us to process that initial payment of $49 plus tax. While the customer is reviewing the agreement, you're going to see the lease status as invoice in progress. This is not the step where you release the merchandise because the customer has not signed yet. So if you go back and the customer's like, hey, the initial payment was taken from my account, but you still see the lease status as invoice in progress, reach out to retail support or to myself, and I'll be able to let you know the next steps. But what you should be looking for is this status here. Once the customer actually does e-sign and we do retrieve that initial payment, the lease status will change to awaiting delivery. When you see this status, you'll set the delivery date to today's date. And once you set the delivery date to today's date, that lease status is then going to change to funded. And funded means that you are all set. We're going to pay out the funds for this account within 24 hours. And you will then be able to continue to move on to Elevate, where you'll check out completely. So this is where we go to Elevate. You have all of the items run in. We'll then go to make payment. You'll select split payment. And hopefully, if you are a partner of ours, when you go into Elevate or your make a payment, you should see Progressive Leasing as one of your payment types. If not, let me know and I can work with the team to get that button added for you all. But we do a split payment. And the reason why, just going back to what I said earlier, is because Progressive Leasing only covers the cost of the device or devices and accessories, only the durable goods. So if the customer has an activation fee, if they have any features, Boost Protect, if they are paying the first month's bill, that must be paid separate from the lease. So split payment is going to capture the amount that went on Progressive for the phone and accessories, and then the customer can pay cash or card for the remaining amount. And then when you go to process, I don't have that screenshot, but there will be a note field where you can paste the lease ID that Progressive creates for every customer. And that's how you can connect the two invoices together. And that's the actual process for running a Progressive transaction. I would say from beginning to end, from the application to you actually creating the invoice and sending the agreement, It should add no more than 10 to 15 minutes to your sales time. And we'll talk about the value, but yeah, 10 to 15 minutes is what I've seen is pretty standard. Now we're going to talk about the pitch. Hopefully this will be very familiar to you all as far as pitching it, but you're going to hear me say this a lot, especially when I'm in the market visiting the stores. You do want to make sure that all customers know the options that you have available so they can decide which route works best for them. So when that customer is coming in and they're letting you know that they're interested in getting a device, no matter which device it is that they're interested in, you just want to kind of go over their purchase options right in the beginning. So you can simply start with, hey, we have our no credit needed program. It's easy to apply and it only takes about 5 minutes. If you have that customer or if your location participates in the pay later, the postpaid, and that customer is specifically interested in that option, well, you can let them know, hey, let's get you qualified for the best promotional pricing today. I'll go ahead and run this application through pay later. And we also have an alternative option through our no credit needed program. While you're running the application for pay later, you can send the customer the link to apply for Progressive. And if you have the customer apply for both options, one of them, I guarantee you, they're going to get qualified for. So you'll be able to still continue with your sale and maximize it if you do it that way. But one of the benefits of offering lease to own is simple. You're expanding the customer's buying power. They do not have to spend everything up front. They'll be more likely to stick around a lot longer. It just creates a better overall experience for those customers, especially if they're looking for a higher end device. Also, when you're pitching, be confident. Let the customer know the sooner you apply, the better we'll know what your odds of approval are or what it is that we can get you out the door with today. The goal is really just going to be getting that customer comfortable enough to want to submit their application. All right, so another tip here is just if that customer is coming in and you haven't yet talked about the purchase options, but you know that they're eyeballing a particular device and they're like, oh man, that's too expensive, or I don't want to pay that much. This is where you can, again, let them know that there is an alternative option through lease to own. They have that 12-month lease term. That's the lowest monthly payment. If they don't like going that full 12-month term, no problem. There's a 90-day purchase option, only 20% to take advantage of that. If they can't do it in 90 days, they can still save on the total cost by paying out early. The sooner they pay, the overall less they're actually going to pay in the end. Now, this is our payment estimator. This is a very helpful tool. It's going to actually let you know exactly what that payment is going to be after the initial payment. This is something you and the customer will have access to. But if you're logged into Prog Central, you'll see the payment estimator right next to start an application. You'll be able to click on that. You'll put in the amount that you want to estimate. In this example, we have $1,000. It'll let you know what the total cost is going to be at the end of 12 months. It's also going to let you know based on the payment frequency you selected, what that payment is going to be each month. And then this little graph here that has the line with the dots, if you click on the dots, that's actually a milestone or a month. So this is the third month. And this is what it would be in 90 days. So for $1,000, it's going to be $1,200 if they pay out in 90 days. And then the next is going to be 4 months. So you'll be able to actually give them the dollar amount that they would need to pay if they're interested in paying it off before 12 months, just to give them a better understanding of exactly what they need to set up in their budget monthly. All right, and then we just have a couple of more objections just to kind of overcome if you encounter them. If you have a customer who's coming in and they're like, I don't know, I don't really have the best credit, you can let them know, no problem at all. We have an awesome no credit needed program that shouldn't affect your FICO score. If they're saying that they're not really comfortable with the cost of leasing, like, that's 12 months. I like the idea of 12 months, but I don't like how much I'm paying. Let them know with Progressive Leasing, many customers take advantage of paying off early to save money, and remind them you can pay off early in the first 90 days. And if you want to get your lease set up to be paid out in 3 months, that's an option that Progressive works with you on, just to help with that ease of mind and them knowing, all right, at 3 months, it's paid in full, I'm done. Now, what's in it for the customer? Very simple. Buying power. If we look at a bundle of unlimited premium, $60. They have Boost Protect for $14. We have a setup fee for $35. Let's say we have an iPhone 16 Pro Max. They don't qualify for discounts. It's just an example, right? We get them a case, a screen protector, and a speaker. That bundle, we're looking at about $1,448 plus tax, right? Well, with Progressive, that same bundle, the customer is going to walk out spending $158 plus tax. So it's an upfront cost savings of about $1,290. That goes a long way. And we know the benefit of lease to own. You're creating that sticky customer. You're getting the customer everything it is that they want. Their device is protected. They have the best rate plan. It's a win-win solution for everyone, really. Now we're going to talk about what's in it for you. If you use lease to own, if you use the pay later, if you use all of the tools that you have available, you are going to see an increase in every single one of your metrics. First one is obvious, gross ads, right? If the customer doesn't have to spend all of their money up front, they're going to be more likely to get a second line, whether that's a device, whether that's a tablet. You also will be able to get some more of those internet boxes out as well. Not to mention, because the customer is making monthly payments, they are responsible for the cost of repair, replacing the device if it's damaged. So you're more than likely able to bundle the Boost Protect. And you can get the best Boost Protect, right? Because again, they're only spending $49 plus tax and then the first month's bill of service and et cetera, right? So that's still a lot more that they're saving and more wiggle room for you to get more. Additionally, Progressive works very well with your upgrades. I know customers do get a good discount. They do get a discount, right, for upgrades. However, it's not the new line discount. It's not the port-in discount. But with Progressive, it feels like a pretty big discount. All I'm spending is $49 plus tax plus the setup fee, right? It's huge. Not to mention, you can get your accessories. Right now, our dealers that partner with us, they average about $80 in accessories per sale. And they have an increase in their auto bill pay. Why? Because in order for Progressive to debit that initial payment, we need a debit or credit card. Well, customers who apply for Progressive close that sale, they got their gross ad, they got their device insurance, they got their accessories, not to mention they got that customer on auto top up. With Progressive, you should see increase in traffic. We partner with a lot of retailers and we have a store locator. So customers who maybe have used one of our retailers in the past and they're interested in getting a device, they may pre-qualify online, put in their address, and then one of your Boost mobile stores near them comes up, and now you got a new customer that's never shopped with you before. Last but not least, customer retention. Currently, we do partner with a couple of wireless carriers, and we currently have a 92% 6MR. So customers stick around when they partner with you and through Progressive. So honestly, you really should see an increase in every single one of your metrics. Now, for those who are not signed up with Progressive and you are interested, the link for you to sign up will be progleasing.com/DCI. So if you inquire there, you just put your contact information. That'll come over to my account manager, and then we'll reach out to you to get you signed up, or you can reach out to me directly. But also, I do want to let you know there are some approved in-store marketing materials. Hopefully, you do have them available. If not, they can definitely be ordered through your Boost marketing. But you have a flyer that's leased to own, approved by Boost. And then there's also a magnet. If you want to get that magnet, that can also be ordered. Progressive also has some additional flyers. They're not necessarily branded, but if you are interested in offering or posting those in your store, I can definitely get those over to you as well. Here's our contact information for our customer service team and our retail support. I did not say this earlier, but if you ever have a customer that get approved for Progressive, but they need an additional increase, they're looking for 10 to 20% more just to get them to the device they want or to get all of the accessories they want. If you call into our retail support line, we always give an automatic 10% courtesy increase. But if you need an additional amount, you call in and we'll do our best to get that for you. Also, if a customer gets denied and they're like, hey, I used Progressive in the past, I don't really understand why I got denied. I paid off my lease, or they're not really happy with the denial, call into retail support and there is a likelihood that that denial could be overturned. So if when in doubt, just give us a call. And then you have my contact information. This is my direct cell. For you to reach me, you can call me or you can text me. If you prefer to email me, you can also email me. You have that information here. I do have an account manager as well. He provides that virtual support. He helps with onboarding. He also helps with the trainings as well. His name is Philip Wright. So you have a full team that's dedicated to helping you succeed. We also have our mobile app. So if you want to scan this QR code and download it yourself and view a little bit more information after today, by all means you can. But this is the same mobile app that customers actually use today. And that concludes my presentation. I don't know if we have time for questions. I'll look in the chat to see if anything just come.
I don't see anything in the chat, but we will open up. Are there any questions? We've got about 4 minutes left. Do you guys have any questions around Progressive? That would be a great time to ask, but we got Monae. All right, there's no questions, you guys. This is a huge profit driver for your stores. You definitely want to make sure you're taking advantage of this. If you're not enrolled with Progressive, you're not starting using it now, let this be your wake-up call. Some of the doors, like I said, the top dealer in the entire country crushes it with Progressive. They run it all the time, and they are number one in the country for a reason, because they do the things that makes them money and helps the customers walk out the door at the lowest price possible, and that's what you guys can do with Progressive. Monae, thanks so much for hopping on. I'll give you just one last call. Any questions out there? All right. No questions. Thank you guys so much for your time. We'll give you a couple minutes back in your day. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Have a great one. We'll talk to you soon.